Welcome. I'm Richard Hasnote, and I'm your host for the Wisdom Inspired Life podcast and this YouTube channel. Great to have you back. If you'd like to email me, you can email me at richardwib@gmail.com, the address on the screen. I love hearing from listeners. Before we get into today's episode, I want to just make sure that you're aware that we have numerous playlists on this channel. One of them is the Words of Wisdom playlist, and you can see some of the topics there. Go check it out. It's likely to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these that might just be of interest to you. So have some fun. Well, this episode will go on the Ageless Wisdom playlist. And the Ageless Wisdom is about 24 volumes of the highest esoteric wisdom from an enlightened Tibetan master, Zhao Kul, who transmitted the 24 volumes in 10,000 pages via mental telepathy to Alice Bailey, a U.S. citizen living in places like Monterey and California. What I've done here is, and I've read all 24 volumes, so I can tell you it's not an easy read, but I'm going to be pulling this from a compendium volume called Ponder on This, which may still be available on Amazon if it's still in supply. The topic for today is the dark forces. Being aware of them, understanding them, because they are real, in a sense. Quoting, "As I've stated before, the forces of light work with the soul, hidden in every form, including you and I. They are concerned with group purposes and with the founding of the kingdom of God on earth. So the forces of light work with the soul, in contrast to the dark forces. The dark forces work with the form side of expression and with the founding of a center of control which will be theirs entirely and which will subdue all the living forms in all the kingdoms." Sounds ominous. "To their particular behest. It's the old story, familiar in biblical phraseology, of the kingdoms of the world and the kingdom of Christ, of the power of the Antichrist and the power of Christ. This produced a great climax in Atlantean days, very real, and though the hierarchy of light triumphed, it was by the merest margin. The battle was fought out on the astral plane, though it had its correspondence up on the physical plane, in a great world conflict of which the ancient legend tells us." Okay? So, a major battle. Fortunately, at least from my perspective, the forces of light won this, but it's very real. Okay? Next. "The major weapon now being used by the combined forces of evil is chaos." Does that sound familiar? "Disruption, lack of established security, and consequent fear." Current events may reflect some of that. "The entire rhythm of international thinking has to be altered, and that constitutes a slow and arduous task. The evil personalities, which in every country are responsible for the chaos and uncertainty, have eventually to be replaced by those who can work in cooperation with the rhythm of the seventh ray," which we'll talk more about at a later time, "and thus produce ordered beauty." Okay? I think we know some of those personalities. Okay? So, first page talked about the forces of light. Second talked about the battle. And this talks about the weapons and the path and awareness and capabilities needed to win against the dark forces. Well, if you'd like to know more, you can always go to mywisdominspiredlife.com. You can listen to the podcast there. As you probably know by now, I'm on a journey to try and help people around the world live a more wisdom-inspired life. Thank you very much for being part of that journey today, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you.